My name is Amy Nechtem. I have the honor and privilege to serve as the Chief Justice of the Massachusetts Juvenile Court. Our focus for advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion opportunities is reliant upon collaboration. Collaboration through initiatives, collaboration through education, and collaboration through community partnership and conversations. The juvenile court works closely with other system partners in the area of juvenile justice and child welfare to identify and address disparities in our system. The juvenile court is part of the Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative, JDAI as it's called, which lifts up the voices of impacted youth and families with a goal towards equitable and positive outcomes for justice involved youth. JDAI in Massachusetts began in 2006 and has worked tirelessly to reduce detention and to ensure that the right youth is in the right place for the right reason, working together with leadership from DYS, probation, CPCS, DCF in schools, and other important partners. JDAI is presently embarking on an analysis of the inequities in our collective system and the opportunities we all have to focus our work for positive and equitable outcomes. In addition, Massachusetts has established the Child Welfare and Juvenile Justice Leadership Forum. It's comprised of key stakeholders and child serving entities in Massachusetts. Among the Leadership Forum's strategic objectives are reducing racial and ethnic disparities in the juvenile justice system, strengthening our child welfare supports for youth to reduce delinquent behaviors and to improve child welfare outcomes, training our current staff, and developing tomorrow's workforce, and by strengthening community-based responses to youth and families. The Leadership Forum is supporting the work of JDAI in the system analysis. Regarding juvenile court initiatives, the juvenile court is committed to using data to drive decision making, lifting up the voices of our youth and families, and investing in educational programs that advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. Regular data collection and analysis is necessary to identify characteristics of court-involved youth and to identify areas of disparity. The Juvenile Court has published the first virtual dashboard of case filings, which allows certain case types to be viewed by race, ethnicity, age, and gender. Using the Tableau software, the court designed a public-facing dashboard that displays complex court data in a user-friendly and an easily digestible format. Our next steps will be to build dashboards that demonstrate outcomes on delinquency cases, whether or not the youth was found delinquent and how that youth was sentenced, again, with an eye toward race, ethnicity, age, and gender. We are also working to improve data collection of race and ethnicity on civil cases, such as our care and protection cases, and child requiring assistance, so that we may work with our partners to provide the same careful attention to disparities that exist in our child welfare system. In regards to collaboration through education and awareness, the Juvenile Court recently presented an educational program this January with best-selling author Steve Pemberton. Mr. Pemberton led a conversation with judges from the Juvenile Court and from the Probate and Family Court, with clerks, with probation officers, and court clinicians as he recounted his painful and traumatic history of growing up as a multiracial child in the child welfare system. This well-received program raised awareness on the disparate impact that the child welfare system has on our youth of color. In addition, the Juvenile Court's Disparity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee reconvened last fiscal year and is chaired by two judges and includes a number of dedicated professionals with a broad scope of experience. The committee is currently working to design trainings based on the trial court's leadership capacity training workshops. Last fall, the MCLE annual Juvenile Delinquency and Child Welfare Conference, for which I was honored to serve as faculty, responded to the national racial reckoning by focusing on issues of race and disparity. Topics included racial trauma, implicit bias, and a panel of young people that brought their important voice and experiences into the space. Community voice, constituent voice, and the voice of our stakeholder partners is an essential part of moving our work forward. Massachusetts recently was chosen to lead the nation in what's called a child welfare intervention mapping model, the first in the nation prevention model that is community based and community driven to reduce the number of children requiring foster care by using a public health lens to identify points of opportunity and to provide youth and families with needed services and supports so that the court intervention is ultimately avoided. This includes preventative legal advocacy. The focus on community resilience is designed to help communities identify resources and gaps so that the only cases coming into court are those that truly require court intervention. To further the community work, the Juvenile Court is convening stakeholder summits, the first scheduled in Hampden County this coming April. These events are intended to be responsive to the dynamics within the individual communities in which the divisions of the Juvenile Court operate. The community and the system strengths and weaknesses may be different in a county such as Barnstable than they are in a county such as the Berkshires. These summits will enable meaningful conversation, collaboration, and problem solving between and among invested stakeholder groups. By developing dynamic and responsive systems, county by county and court by court, we will ensure that children and families have equitable access to opportunity no matter where they reside in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. In conclusion, the Juvenile Court Pathways Model, our initiative that's also a national model, works to continue to improve equitable outcomes through differentiated case management. The court is also developing a tool to assess risk and danger in the context of whether a child can remain safely in his or her home. An important part of this tool is addressing implicit and explicit bias in that determination. We have rolled out what's called essential questions for educational stability. In today's environment, we know that the educational gap for historically disadvantaged youth is widening. The youth of these questions will help the court solicit information crucial to the stability of a child's school placement and a child's learning. The Juvenile Court is committed to our efforts to engage communities, to further raise awareness, to open communication, to further listen, to learn, and to support our children and strengthen families through preventative resources, intervention models, and opportunities. Thank you.